My name's Jennifer Kearns. I'm an outside lawyer who's been engaged by San Diego Culinary to investigate the claims that certain of your classmates are asserting. And as I mentioned before we went on camera, I don't form a conclusion or an impression until I've talked to everyone. When I say everyone, I am making an effort to speak with literally every person in the class. I understand there's a person or two who may not be able to speak with me, maybe due to medical reasons. I'm doing my best, but I have, at this point, spoken with almost everyone in the class, as well as both chefs.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
My role here is not to weigh in or make any decision on what SDCI should do. My role is simply, as an employment practitioner who's been doing this for a long time, about 26 years, to listen to the witnesses, look at the documents if there are documents, assess the facts, and reach a conclusion, if I'm able, as to whether or not there was conduct on your part that rises to the level of sexual harassment. And in this interview, my purpose is to question you, it's not to teach you. But what I can say is that, sexual harassment is a legal term of art, and there needs to be a certain level of severity of conduct or pervasiveness of conduct. I have to assess whether or not conduct is ambiguous, possible of more than one interpretation, and I assess witness credibility, which is why I wanted to meet everyone face to face to the extent possible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What was your name? Jennifer?
My name is Jennifer Kearns. It's
Kearns.
Kearns.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my first question, I have seen the letter that you submitted to David,
Okay.
and I have some sense of various events that took place. Sometimes I'm going to ask you whether something is accurate or not, or
Sure.
ask you to correct me. So
No problem.
the first point in time that I'm aware of somebody having something that they are concerned about, and I'm not saying they necessarily voiced a complaint, but some of the girls, and let me just clarify, when it's necessary for me to identify somebody who's an accuser, I will. When it's not necessary, I won't.
Okay.
And I may just be asking you whether you engaged in certain conduct, regardless of who may have seen it or witnessed it or whatever.
Okay.
So some of the girls complain that during the 2-week orientation period in library, when people were sitting in chairs, you might walk past them in the morning, saying hello and just patting someone on the back, giving their shoulder a squeeze. And do you think it's possible that did or didn't happen?
Could have.
Okay.
It's very, very well could have.
And bear in mind that when I'm just looking for your honest answers as to
Sure.
what happened. I'm not making a judgment on
Sure.
right or wrong or
I
legal or
understand.
illegal at this point.
I'm just going to tell you the truth, so
Okay.
you can, I have no other reason why to tell you the truth, so that's what I'm going to do.
Did any of your female classmates at any time directly tell you, "Don't do that, it makes me uncomfortable,"
Never,
about anything?
never.
What about calling them honey, sweetie, baby?
Yes, Ashley, I don't even know what her last name is. Ashley said something to me, asked me not to say that to her.
Can you recollect roughly when that happened?
It was the day before, whatever day Chef Fournier called me into his office and asked me if I did say that. And he asked me maybe that might be something that I want to stop.
Okay, let me ask you, because I'm aware of a certain chain of events. Was there at some time a discussion in which Chef Fournier called you into his office and told you, as you just said, that maybe you don't want to call girls by terms of endearment?
He said that, and I said, "Okay, Chef," and it immediately stopped. Once he asked me to do that, that was the end of it.
And do you believe that meeting was precipitated by Ashley's interaction with you?
Has to be. She's the only one that said anything to me.
This meeting, I'm guessing, took place in Chef's office.
Yes.
And to the best of your recollection, what did he say? You know, I guess I'm asking you to recount verbatim to the extent you can what was said by each of you. And if you can't recall the exact words, tell me the concepts that were discussed.
Well, he basically told me that he didn't feel like it was an issue. He has known me for a while, and he sees my interaction with people. And he said for me to not worry about it, just, be aware of it. And I took it further than what he said. I immediately stopped interaction with the girls, stopped on break. I do not associate with them outside of the classroom as long as I have to.
Okay, I'm going to stop you here.
Okay.
I may do that at times just to keep my notes orderly.
I probably went a little fast for you. I'm sorry.
So I'm still focusing on the discussion between you and Chef.
Yes.
Is there any third person present?
Just him and I.
Okay. And exactly what conduct or types of what conduct was Chef telling you to be aware of or to?
He said that if I'm calling them, if I'm saying sweetheart or honey, it might be a good idea to stop that. And I said, yeah, okay, I have no problem with that. But he was also in the same agreement with me that it wasn't a problem, that he didn't see that I was out of line in any way, and just asked for me to be aware of it. But like I said, I took it a step further, and
Okay, I'm still focusing on the verbal discussion between the two of you,
Okay.
not your subsequent actions.
Okay.
Did Chef mention any other kind of conduct in this meeting that anyone had expressed concern about?
He might have said something about putting hands on, but it didn't. After he had said any kind of action like that, I immediately withdrew completely. So
Well, you say he might have mentioned something about putting hands on people.
yes.
Okay. Do you know that he did or didn't say that?
I did. I put it in the letter. I don't remember if I said that or not.
Okay.
I
Well,
have
I'm
better
trying to-
notes. I
Yeah.
have better notes than I do.
What are your notes?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I have it in the letter. Whether he said that to me in that meeting or not, it's better
Okay,
by
well,
my notes.
I'm going to challenge you just a little.
Okay.
You wrote the notes
Yeah.
just a week ago.
Yes.
Okay, and so, and the notes may relate to a discussion you had in October.
Yes.
But are you telling me right now that you can't remember? I mean, sitting without looking at your notes, can you remember what happened in that meeting?
If he did tell me that, I took it to heart and
Well,
stopped
now
doing
I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be obstreperous with you, but I'm
Yeah.
asking you, forget about the fact that you have some notes.
Right.
I'm asking you to just sit here and focus from your own memory about what was said between you and Chef in the October meeting, and specifically whether he mentioned that any girls had complained about physical contact with you.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to agree with something you don't agree with. I'm asking
Yeah,
if you remember.
I don't. I honestly, I don't remember if he did say that or not.
Do you remember Chef telling you in the October meeting that any of the girls felt you were touchy-feely, or words to that effect?
No. If he did, I don't remember.
Okay, now your letter, which was written 1 week ago, says, in early October 2013, Chef Fournier called me into his office and informed me that a couple of my female classmates had accused me of inappropriate touching and using unwelcome language to address them. Is this the letter? Is this your letter?
Yes.
Okay. So does that refresh your recollection in any way as to whether?
It must have, what I'm telling you is when I'm remembering the conversation that we had, and I have better notes than I do remembering, so.
Okay, well, I'm saying that you created this letter
Yes, I sure
okay,
did, a week ago. Right.
6 days ago.
Right.
Okay, and you were at that point you were relating something that happened several months earlier.
Right.
So just so that I'm very clear,
Yes.
is there something that's happened in the last week, in the last 6 days, that's sort of erased your memory or made it?
I have very difficult time remembering sometimes, so I have short-term sometimes memory loss.
Okay. Now having read that portion to
Sure.
you and shown it to you when you
Sure.
said female classmates had accused me of inappropriate touching,
Right.
does that bring back any more detail for you?
No, because I honestly in that meeting I don't remember it, but if I put it in there, then he must have said something about it.
Well, I also need to be really delving down. Did anybody help you write this or assist you with content or tell you what to put in your letter?
No, I did that myself.
Okay. Did you refer to any other notes or any other written
I have
items?
yes, I have computer notes.
Okay. And what are your computer notes about?
Times and dates that we've had events happen in his office.
Okay, so you're just saying you've kept some computer notes
Correct.
of your interactions with Chef.
Correct.
Okay. Do any of your notes also detail or discuss interactions you've had with any of your classmates?
No, because it's all class related. So I didn't really have anything else to write down.
Okay. And are the notes that you take contemporaneous or, at least created at or around the time of whatever it is you're writing about?
Usually, yes.
Okay. Do you have your notes available? We don't have to do it while we're on camera, but do you have your notes available of your meeting with Chef in October?
Possibly.
Okay.
I might have them.
Okay, maybe we'll turn to that afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. But in any event, the content of this letter is entirely yours, yes?
Oh, of course.
Okay. And having seen that you read that Chef had talked to you about girls complaining of inappropriate touching or unwelcome touching in October, that still doesn't trigger any further detail for you?
No, because it of the conversation is what you're saying.
Right.
It was so nonchalant, the conversation. I took it to the extreme of
Okay, I'm
not.
still focusing on the
I
conversation.
understand what you're saying, but
you're saying
there's
the conversation was nonchalant. In what way? Was it very brief?
It was. I'm going to say maybe less than 5 minutes. I'm going to say. And again, he assured me that he didn't see any inappropriate action. He didn't see anything that was wrong, and for me not to worry about it. Those were 3 main things that he said.
Okay. Did he identify for you in that face-to-face conversation who had made these complaints?
I asked him, and he wouldn't tell me. No, I'm unaware of anyone. They've never told me.
All right. All right, so now you can go on. You said you took it a step further and you said you stopped interacting with the girls.
Right.
And so after this discussion with Chef in October, what changes did you make in your behavior?
I made sure that any class interaction that I had with the girls was strictly related to class.
Did you ever have any, for lack of a better word, tense communications with any of the girls in the class? or confrontations?
No, I never have. I'm totally baffled by this whole thing. So, no, I have not.
Okay. Was there ever an incident in the classroom in which Savannah made some kind of comment like, you know, why don't you just do something instead of standing there talking about it, and you then took her outside and discussed what she had said?
Well, yes, there was.
Okay.
I do
Would you
remember.
describe that interaction as tense or confrontational?
I didn't really think anything more of it.
Okay.
No.
Well, why don't you tell me in your own words what happened?
She commented in classroom. Hey, man, this is really wow. I don't even recall the situation because I really didn't think anything of it. I don't know. She had she was the way she was talking to me. I felt was I guess disrespectful, and she had done it, I guess, before. It's the only reason why I would have ever said anything to her.
Do you remember what she was saying that was disrespectful?
Nope.
Do you remember asking her to step outside of the classroom to discuss
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
What do you remember of the conversation once it went outside?
I asked her to not speak to me that way again. That's all was said, that I said.
What was your physical proximity to her?
Physical proximity.
Yeah, how close were you when the two of you were having this conversation outside?
It was 5-10 feet.
So much further away than you and I are right now?
Absolutely.
Did you get close to her, like get in her face?
No.
Did you see any other person sitting nearby as this altercation was going on? In
Yeah.
other words, someone with the school?
Frank.
Okay. And this is Frank, the custodian?
That's
Or-
correct.
Okay. And did you, at any point in this, and again, when I ask you whether you did things, I'm not judging whether
Sure.
it's right or wrong to have done it. Did you ever point your finger at her in the discussion, like, you know, don't you ever talk to me again like that?
It's a possibility. I think it was more of a request than a. Yeah.
More of a request than...
to stop speaking to me
Mhm.
disrespectfully.
Okay, did you raise your voice?
No. I completely forgot about this, so that's why I didn't even think anything of it.
Was there any incident in which, or well, I don't want to call it an incident, was there any occasion on which a female classmate was back in the oven area checking on some bread. It was probably, so it would have been during the bread segment when a female was checking on some bread, and you came up and placed your hand on her low back.
No. Absolutely not.
Well, and again, remember, I have no preconceived ideas.
Sure.
So I've been in the oven area. I see
Sure.
how tight it is.
Sure.
I'm wondering if, if I were bent over an oven and you needed to pass behind me, and maybe I've got a hot pan,
Sure.
I'm just trying to understand, is there any possibility you kind of reached out and put your hand on the person's back to say, like, don't stand up and back up?
There's all kinds of possibilities, but if I consciously did that, no, absolutely not. I don't even know who you're talking about, so I have no recollection of that at all.
Is it possible that when the pastry course began, you and a female classmate, in fact, in this instance, I will particularize it, Heather, were sitting on a bench in front of this, I guess it would be out here, sitting on a bench in front of the school, and that you introduced yourself to her but put your hand on her knee?
Is it possible?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. And do you remember doing that?
No.
Okay. And I think I asked you this at the beginning, but did any female classmate ever, do you have any recollection of a female classmate telling you, don't treat me like that, don't talk to me like that, other than Ashley saying, don't call me honey, don't call me sweetie?
There's been zero communication other than Ashley and myself asking me to do anything. None.
To do something differently?
Exactly.
Let me ask you, when Ashley, and the way I understand this conversation went down is that you may have referred to her as sweetie or sweetheart, and she said, my name is Ashley, please call me Ashley.
Yes.
Okay, is that an accurate representation?
Absolutely.
What was going through your mind when she made that request of you?
I figured that I offended her, and I apologized immediately. I said, please forgive me. I'll definitely, Ashley's fine.
Mm-hmm. Did she seem upset, angry?
No.
What was her demeanor?
Very professional.
Now, I have heard from a number of other sources that, using terms of endearment, if you will, sweetie, sweetheart, dear, honey, something like that, is something that a number of the women have said you have used that terminology with them. And I guess I'm taking from your communications that, in fact, that is something that you've done.
Sure.
Okay. And that once Ashley asked you to stop with her, you did stop with her.
Absolutely.
Okay. Did you in any way stop and think, gee, if I offended Ashley, maybe it's offending the other girls?
Well, then what you just asked me would clarify that. If Ashley asked me to stop doing that, then it would make sense. If she's feeling that way, then somebody else might be feeling that way. And the next day, the chef and I also had a conversation about it. So
Okay, so you're saying that Ashley spoke to you about this literally the day before Chef called you in.
Correct.
Okay, okay. And so in the discussion with Chef, he mentioned the terms of endearment, if I can refer to them that
Right.
way. Okay.
But it didn't take the chef for me to say, oh, okay, well, must be upsetting her. Okay.
And did you ever use these terms, terms of endearment to refer to any of the females after the discussion with Chef?
Nope.
Are you sure of that? I mean, and again, bear in mind, I'm positive that, well, not, I don't know you. I would guess that you didn't intentionally think, okay, I've been counseled about this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not saying you have that mindset, but is it possible that you did continue?
Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Did I? Yeah. I don't know how else to answer that question other than, is it possible? Sure. Not likely, but
Do you remember at any time feeling like you needed to be mindful of what you were saying whenever you talked to the girls?
sure, especially since he had just got done asking me not to do it.
Yeah, you may as well pause while I'm not asking the question.
Okay.